God bless you all. Thank you for joining us tonight. My name is Manuel Miranda. I am from the church Love, Power, and Grace. We are located at 1455 Boston Road in the Bronx, New York. The pastors are Reverend Michael Lopez, Pastor Tabitha Lopez, and Associate Pastor Reverend Sixto Francois. We welcome you tonight to our chat, Walking in the Word Wednesdays. And the theme of today, of the month, or that we've been kind of observing is learn or to seek knowledge and conquer. And I believe my sister Amanda last night did a really good job of kind of interweaving the fact that our students went back to school last week, and not only did the students go back to school, but we also have teachers and guidance staff and all the staff and everything that takes place when it comes to going back to school started. And within that, you have this seeking of knowledge, this thing that we need to gain and we need to attain. We've all heard knowledge is power, right? And this is a term that has been utilized for many years, and it's true. It definitely is true, but it's something that I wanted to really kind of go over today in today's word, in today's message. The reason why was it kind of, it's something that transpired for me and my students on Monday. As for those of you that are in our church, you know that I also teach on our Bible Institute, and we've started our classes in church history. Now, one of the things that kind of hit me, or that I not hit me, but that I went through, or not even went through, that I asked on the first day of class on Monday, after we sat in our breakout rooms, sitting right here in front of this camera on Zoom with my class. Listen, I totally understand that history is not everybody's favorite subject, but one of the things that I asked the students was, who loves history, or who's a student of history? I raised my hand because I am a student of history. I love history. I love going over it. It's a thing for me, right? And only one other person raised their hand and they said they love history. Now, one of the things that person said kind of resonated with me, and it resonated with me when it comes to today's message, is the fact that she said it's funny how today in school they don't teach you history. They teach you a version of history. And when she said that, it kind of resonated with me again, because being a student of history and knowing how the educational system today has taught versions, or has changed history, including how the church and the Bible have influenced world history. And I made a point to speak to my class and let them know, hey, listen, the church has been involved in world history. You might sit in a classroom in whatever institution, whether it be public school, whether it be high school, whether it be whatever elementary school it is that you're sitting in, and your history professor is going to tell you about world history, and they're going to tell you that this is world history, and they're going to carve out the nuggets, as you say, of how the church is involved or influenced the world. One of the biggest things that I told my class and I mentioned to my class is the fact that there's a podcaster that I listen to. His name is Charlie Kirk. And he is one of those guys that he will go into college campuses and he will debate youth. He will debate, teachers. This is what he does. And he's a believer. And one of the things that he came across was the fact that someone told him that the Constitution of the United States, right, our country, has no biblical reference. And he rebutted, he stopped him short, and he said, are you reading the same document? Because the Constitution of the United States is loosely, if not firmly, based off of the book of Leviticus. And not only is the Constitution of the United States based off of it, but if you look at our Declaration of Independence, it is strictly based off of the book of Leviticus. And one of the things that we need to realize and we remember, or people forget to remember, is the fact that this country, the United States of America, is founded on Judeo-Christian values. But again, the world will tell you to forget that. The world will tell you differently. They'll tell you that that's not the case. They'll tell you that the world isn't that way, that the United States isn't that way, that our forefathers were a bunch of slave owners, or so on and so forth, right? I mean, come on. We've all heard that. We've all gone through, or we are in this arena, or you can say even political arena or whatever, where we are seeing the decay of our country because we are completely and utterly separating ourselves from the Judeo-Christian values that this country was established on, because they are carving the church, they are carving God out of the United States. They're carving God out of our history. They're carving God out of what we know and what we understand and how we became the superpower that we were, because right now we are in a steady decline. The farther we get away from God, the farther we fall as a country. And we know that. We're seeing that. We're seeing the decay of society because we're getting farther and farther away from the Word of God. So thinking about the theme and how we need to become conquerors ourselves, it brought me to the book of Hosea. Oh, let's open up our Bibles to the book of Hosea, chapter 4. And we're going to read from verse 6 on. I believe it's from verse 6, to 9, but I think we'll go through the first two verses, right? The book of Hosea, chapter 4, verses 6 and 7, in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, because you have rejected knowledge. I also will reject you from being priest for me, because you have forgotten the law of your God. I also will forget your children. Verse 7, the more they increased, the more they sinned against me. I will change their glory into shame. Verse 9, they eat up the sin of my people. They set their heart on their iniquity. And 9, in it shall be like people, like priests. So I will punish them for their ways and reward them for their deeds. Now, you read that, and obviously Hosea, the prophet Hosea, it's got these strong words for the people of Israel. You see, the people of Israel have completely forgotten God. And it's not like, completely forgotten. It's just that it's more of a, I need God when I need him, right? I like to say in my Sunday school class that we compartmentalize God. We put him in a box and we put him on a shelf, right? And when we need him, We take him and we grab him, we open up the box, or we rub the box and say, God, come and help me because I need you. I have this problem. And God, being the merciful God that he is, doesn't solve the problem, but he helps you through the problem because he loves you so much. And he loves you so much that he helps you through the problem. You don't get the exact thing that you need, that you want, but you get exactly what you need. And at the point where you get it, or the problem is resolved, or there's some kind of a resolution, now you take God again and you put him in the box and you put him in the shelf. All the shelves behind me, right? You put him on that shelf. I don't need you anymore, God. You served your purpose in my life. And this is Israel at the time, because they've forgotten, they've stepped away from the desert, the 40 years in the desert. They've stepped away from everything that God has done for them. You see, his track record is amazing with the people of Israel. Amazing. He's like 1,000-0, right? Exaggerating. But there is not one L, as they say, as the kids are say today. There's no L. There's no losses. It's amazing to me, the fact that you step away and you start forgetting. This Sunday, we were talking about the fact that, in Sunday school, we were talking about the fact that Israel became very proud and very arrogant and patting themselves on the chest because they had beaten the Assyrians. They pushed back the biggest nation, the biggest, world nation in world history at the time. And they started patting themselves on the chest and saying, we did it. We did it. Not God. Not with the help of God. We did it. So we've completely and utterly separated ourselves. We've compartmentalized. We put them in that box and we say, okay, God, we don't need you anymore. I'm okay. I'm good. And it really, if you really think about it and you go back to the words of the prophet Hosea, he's talking about is when God's people are destroyed and waste away, it isn't because God has lost either his love or his strength. It's because his people lack knowledge. We forget. We put him away. We put him in our box. We've forgotten the love that he has for us, that it's irrelevant at the moment because we only need that love when we need that love. It's not an everlasting love in our eyes, in our minds, in his eyes, in his mind, and his heart. He still loves you. He still wants to be with you, but you push him away and you say, no, see, I don't need that knowledge anymore. I don't need to know you. I don't need to have that intimate relationship with you anymore. I'm good. It's not you, God, it's me. Right? Who's ever heard that term? It's not you, it's me. God, it's not you, because I know that you're there for me, but it's me. It isn't that God says his people are completely ignorant. They have some knowledge that we know, but not enough. We don't have enough. We don't seek enough. We lack that knowledge. And what do you mean by lacking that knowledge? Because, hey, listen, there are people out there in the world that know this book more than many of us. And they can recite words and verses out of God's word better than many. I'm not one for reciting verses. I'm not one for memorization like that. I've said it before. We've had those type of events at the church where we have those trivia show. The trivia, yeah, but the memorization, I can't. It's not my thing. But it's the lack of knowledge, the lack of relationship, the lack of wanting, that terminology. It's not you, God. It's me. I have to work on myself, God. It's crazy. I mean, how many times? God, I have to work on me, right? I have to work on me. Give me the time so that I can work on me. And then when I work on me and I make better, I make myself better, then hey, you know what? Then I can accept you. Then you could be with, let God work with you, right? But we don't see it that way. We don't look and seek that intimate knowledge, that intimate relationship with him. This is what the prophet Hosea is saying to Israel. This is what he's saying to us. We need to seek out that intimate knowledge. We need to seek out God. We need to get in. I mean, it has to be like I mean, it has to be like something that we digest every single day. You eat it, you consume it, and you regurgitate it, and you eat it again. I know it sounds nasty, but think about it, because this is life-saving stuff here. This is life-saving stuff. This is for eternity. This is for to be able to deal with life's nooks and crannies and curves and speed bumps and whatever you want to call it. Whatever you want to call it. But you need it. This is life. This is life, man. But yet we continue to say, well, God, let me work on me. It ain't you. It ain't you. But let me work on me. And as I was researching this and going over it and is thinking about the fact that, in the book of Psalms, chapter 138, verse 2, it says, it should not surprise us that there is a connection between knowing God and knowing his word, right? Some people think that the Bible knowledge is boring and brainy and not necessary for a real walk in God. But God and his word are vitally connected, right? Like I said, Psalms 138 verse 2 says, you have magnified your word above all your name. So, oh yeah, reading the Bible, it's too brainy. I can't do it. Listen, it's become so easy. Society has become so easy that you could put on a headphone and they could read the Bible to you. The Bible app can read the Bible to you. And you could even choose who reads it to you. I believe there's a woman and I believe there's a man that you could choose whether they read the word to you. It's become that simple. But even then, it becomes too cumbersome. It becomes too much. I can't do it. I got to work on me. I got all the problems of the world, like Amanda, like Sister Amanda was talking about. I got all the problems of the world. I'm a mother. I'm a father. I got to school. I go to work. I go to school. I go this. I got that. I got this. I got that. I got to cook. I got to clean. And then where does God fit in all of that? God should be in everything. But no. I can't, because it's not. I got to work on me. I got to work on me. And then when I need him, I'll take him out of the box, out of my shelf, and I'll put him here and I say, okay, God, help me. Right? The craziest thing about all of this is when God sought for a term to express his nature, he calls himself the Word. God became the Word. God became the Word. This is for him to get closer to us. We need to seek knowledge. We need to seek that power that only he can give. And I'm not talking about power, like ultimate power, like, I'm flexing on people and I'm like, masters of the universe. I guess that's a He-Man reference for those of you who know who He-Man is. But we're talking about the knowledge, the power, the understanding, the minute understanding that we can put in our brains about God. And the way that we can get closer and closer and more intimate with him. We got to stop with this. No, God, it's me. It's not you. It's me. I got to work on me. I got to do things for me so that I can fit you into my schedule, into my life, into my everyday. It's not like you're walking down the street and you can't have a conversation with him. It's not like you're driving your car and you can't have a conversation with him. It's not like, you can go to sleep and or before going to sleep and have a conversation conversation with him. It's not like, it's not like you can't involve him in your everyday life. But no, we choose not to. We choose not to because we say we're too busy. So it goes back to what God was telling Hosea. His people have lack of knowledge because they don't seek him. We don't seek the word. He became the word for us so that we can seek that knowledge, so that we can conquer this world. What does Jesus tell you or tell us in John 16:33? He tells us, I have told you these things so that in me you have peace. In this world you will have trouble, but take heart, I have overcome the world. How do you overcome the world, if you're not digesting the word, if you're not having an intimate relationship with him, if you're not talking to him on a daily basis, if you're not seeking his knowledge? How do you overcome the world? How do you conquer the world? How do you conquer your world, your problems, your situations? If God is not involved, if you have lack of knowledge and you're not digesting his word, him in his embodiment, his word, the gift that he has given us, these library, this 66 books, this 66 book love letter that he's written to us that we take for granted and we put on our shelves. Open up to our favorite verse, most likely Psalms, somewhere in the book of Psalms. I was thinking of Psalms 32. And we open it up on our shelf and we say, okay, I'm in the presence of God. And it's there on our shelf. But it's collecting dust. And it's not being used. But it's there. But it's collecting dust. And it's not being used. Again, if you're not reading it, it could be read for you. That's how simple it's become, right? That's how simple it's become. You can read it. You can have it read to you. Not only the Bible app, but there's other different apps and things and of that nature. But we need to get stronger and stronger and stronger in the word. We need to digest his word. We need to digest his love. How do we plan on conquering? How do we plan on becoming, spiritual soldiers? Because there's a spiritual battle out here that we are dealing with. Sister Amanda yesterday talked about the fact that we have to get ready to battle principalities. How do we do that if we're not getting strong in his word? How do we do that if we're not seeking him? How do we do that if we don't talk to him? How do we conquer if we do not get ready for battle? Listen, I love sports. I love sports. I'm a big basketball, baseball, football guy. The team, football, they play every week on every Sunday, right? They take all week to prepare for that game. And it's hours of preparation. Hours of preparation. Everybody has to prepare for that game. Baseball's a little different. Baseball, they play 152 games, but they play 3 games in a 3-game set or 4-game set. But while between those games, they're getting ready. They're preparing. They're preparing their craft. They're swinging. They're reading reports on how the next pitcher is going to be. They're practicing how to catch. They're perfecting their craft. We need to do the same when it comes to ourselves. How do we prepare for the battlefield, whether it is a football game or a baseball game? It's considered a battlefield in quotations, but how do you prepare? If you're not reading the scouting report, if you're not perfecting your craft, if you're not opening up this book and saying, God, let me understand you, let me seek you, let me understand, let me try to understand the best I can possibly understand you and your purpose for me in this crazy world that we live in. How? Or do we let the world decide for us and let us know or tell us that God is not involved in our lives, that God is not existent, that God is dead? right? That's like the favorite the favorite terminology. God doesn't exist, he's dead, so on and so forth. So we have to get ready for the battlefield that is the world. We know that God has already won this battle, but we still have to participate in it. We still have our trials, our tribulations in it. And how do we conquer? How do we get anywhere if we just completely and utterly forget him? We have lack of knowledge. We don't have a relationship with him. We don't utilize him as, or this word as it was intended to be utilized. How? You know, as I was getting ready for this and contemplating the words of Hosea and you know this beautiful library that God has left, you know, for us, and thinking about repetition and how important repetition is, and how this is a spiritual battle, and the tools have been laid out before us, and God has prepared us and given us the tool that we need in order to defeat our enemy. It made me think of this movie, and I'm sorry, this movie is it really is a good movie. It is a cult classic. I wouldn't recommend it. I saw it many, many years ago before I started serving the Lord, because if you watch it now, the language might be something that will be a big turnoff, because there is a lot of language. But it is such a great movie in the fact that it lets you know, it kind of gives you a sneak peek into the world of a cadet, or I would say a cadet, someone entering the United States Marine Corps. Now, again, the United States Marine Corps being one of the, or if not the baddest armed force units in the world, this movie really kind of gives you this sneak peek. But in this movie, they recite the Rifleman's Creed, right? This is strictly the United States, and it's called the Rifleman's Creed. Now, the thing about it is that it's supposed to give you this bond with your weapon. And in this movie, what reminded me of it was the fact that the drill sergeant instructs his recruits to get in their bunks with their rifles and to recite this creed, right? And I want to read this creed. I want to read part of it. This is my rifle. There are many like it, but this one is mine. My rifle is my best friend. It is my life. I must master it as I must master my life. Without me, my rifle is useless. Without my rifle, I am useless. I must fire my rifle true. I must shoot straighter than my enemy who is trying to kill me. I must shoot him before he shoots me. I will. My rifle and I know that what counts in war is not the rounds we fire, the noise of our burst, nor the smoke we make. We know that it is the hits that count. We will hit. Now it goes on to I can continue. It says, my rifle is human, even as I am human, because it is my life. Thus, I will learn it as a brother. I will learn its weaknesses, its strength, its parts, its accessories, its sights, and its barrel. I will keep my rifle clean and ready, even as I am clean and ready. We will become part of each other. We will. Before God, I swear this creed, my rifle and I are defenders of my country. We are the masters of our enemy. We are the saviors of my life. So be it. Until victory is America's, and there is no enemy but peace. Now, again, this is the United States Marine Corps Rifleman's Creed. But one of the things that it spoke to me, it kind of jumped at me, is the fact that this rifle, that in this movie, how he has them sleep with it, and and the emphasis that this is their life. Why don't we look at this, our rifle, as our life? Why don't we go to sleep to it? Why don't we pick it up and realize that this is our life? You see how they talk about it being a bond, and the fact that there are certain nuances, and keeping it clean, and learning its sights. And you see, there are so many different intricate pieces of a rifle. See, the way that the creed starts is that this is my rifle. There are many like it, but this one is mine. Every rifle is made by a machine, and they all look and sound and look exactly the same. The only difference, but there are major differences in each and every single rifle. There are different nuances, the way it shoots, the way it looks, the way the sight is. There are different, because there's imperfections in the manufacturing process. Just like there are many me's, but I am me. See, there's many human beings, but I am me. I am made in a certain way. I differ from everyone else, and I need my rifle to be able to understand the nuances that are made of me. You see this, the kind of the simile here? You kind of throw it in there and see how the rifleman's creed works. Because this is our weapon. How else are we going to defeat the enemy? How else are we going to defeat our enemy? How else are we going to conquer if we don't have our rifle at the ready, clean, knowing, knowledge, intimate knowledge, to be able to have it, where we know exactly where we can turn to, whatever problem, whatever circumstance, whatever situation, that we can just say, oh my God, I'm having a problem with anxiety. Let me turn to the book of Philippians and see what Paul says about anxiety. How do we not have that if we're not reading it, if we're not digesting it, if we're not laying with it, and we're not having an intimate relationship with this word? How can we do that? Somebody explain that to me. I mean, I'm not looking at the comments, but how can anyone honestly look at that? How can anyone say, oh yeah, I have no knowledge. I don't know the word like that. I don't make it something that I need to carry with me at all times, because it's me. God, it's not you. It's me. I have to work on me. So I'm not going to use the tool that you have given me to work on me. I'm just going to work on me because I know what's best for me. See? The arrogance. The arrogance that Israel displayed towards God is the arrogance that we display, and we say, it's not me. It's not you, it's me. I could do this on my own. I can handle this. I'm just gonna put you back in my box and put you back in the shelf. And I will keep my rifle on my table. And whenever I feel that it's needed, I'll dust it off. Maybe I'll throw a little bit of oil in there because it's been sitting for so long, and I know that it's not going to shoot straight, or it might get jammed if how do we do that? How do we seek God if we're not in his word, if we're not applying it like if it's the United States Marine Corps Rifleman's Creed, right? In our lives. How do we do that? That's the question. And again, going back to John 16:33, how do we deal with the stings of this world that God has already conquered for us? But how do we deal with the stings of the world? How do we deal with the problems of this world? How do we deal with the things that come on a daily basis if we do not seek his face, if we do not seek his knowledge, if we do not seek him, his wondrous love, how do we conquer? That's the question. Because we want to be conquerors. God has set us forth to be conquerors. But we need to have the tool necessary in order to conquer. And the ultimate tool is God. And how do we reach God? Through his word. He became the word for us. He is the word for us. And we seek him through going through his word, prayer, conversations with him, intimate knowledge with him. I mean, he is our best friend. And my best friend, God, is going to see me through my problems, my situations, my things, my that's, my work, my cooking, cleaning, all of that stuff. He's going to see me through all of it. And I will conquer in the name of Jesus Christ. God bless you. God keep you. I hope this word brings something to you. There's someone out there in the world that it might be listening to this or will listen to this, and it brings you to the feet of Jesus, because I mean, that's all he's asking for you, to take him in your heart and let him do the rest. Stop with the whole, it's not you, God, it's me. I got to work on me, because if you accept them into your heart, the work begins. You'll start noticing the changes. Little by little, the work begins. That Holy Spirit starts doing amazing things in you. But you just have to stop with the, it's not you. Wait, it's not you. I gotta, it's me. I gotta work on me. So again, God bless you and God keep you. As far as announcements for the week, please make sure that there is service on Friday. It is a kids service on Friday, so let's come out and let's give love to the children. They definitely need it. So I hope to see you all on Friday at church, so that we can give them the love for their service, for what is planned for their service on Friday. Also, hope to see you all on Bristol and Boston Road at 10 o'clock on Saturday for Youth Encouraging Salvation. Hope to see you all there. And then obviously on Sunday we have our services, Sunday school at 10 a.m. And we have our service at about 11:30, our Sunday service. So hope to see you there. God bless you. Have a great night. God keep you. God loves you. Remember that. Let's seek him out. Have a great night.